Well, good morning to week 9 of legislative session, our last official week, and Mr. Davis's sake, hopefully the actual last and not the fake last week. But things with budget seem to be progressing, and I know we've got some map issues out there, but other than that, we are winding to a close. Quick agenda, obviously, we've got our Chamber's legislative priority statement out there. We'll do a quick recap of week 8, a look ahead to week 9, and any Q&A we might have. Letting some more people into the room here. Again, this is our legislative delegation doing a great job, and just so happy that they've had what seems from the outside to be a successful session, and I'm sure we'll all be attending legislative recaps here in the coming weeks to hear about all the cool stuff and kind of how the sausage got made. And again, we are winding down, but if you're curious on how we started this legislative session and our chamber priorities, we do have that sheet, and we have not gotten many, if any, calls on people just with a 5-alarm fire. So I think everything is coming into a nice glide path for our community partners. And it seems every time I've bugged the people at Polk State that things seem to be progressing there. And I know their big priority is that Northeast campus. So hopefully everything with that is going along quite nicely. And again, we have been tracking things throughout the session. We're wrapping up to the end here, so really won't be adding anything. But again, if you wanted to see what we've been tracking and just where we started, we do have that ability, and we'll continue to do so as Ms. Sarah Beth, who is on our call today, will take the helm next year, and I'm sure take what we've done here and make it a million times better. And again, just kind of by the numbers of what we got going on. Again, ends this Friday, and thanks for picking up steam, obviously, because clock is ticking. Both chambers passed a significant amount of bills last week, with 4 more bills clearing both chambers. Out of the 23 bills that have passed both chambers, 13 have actually been signed by Governor DeSantis. And in a given year, there are typically around 200 bills that head to the governor's desk each session. So there's still a lot more time for work to be done. And Chad, I think I saw a number, just trying to compare apples to apples. I think he signed, what, 44 bills last year. So maybe I made that number, but seems like—
I'm not sure, but that sounds about right.
Okay, so seems like we're tracking probably pretty close to that number, because obviously a lot of these bills will be signed here in the last week, and I think we have a week or 2 weeks to get things signed thereafter.
Well, just clarifying that they have 2 weeks once it's sent to the governor, but some bills are not sent to him right away. They coordinate with his office, and he will tell the Senate president and the House Speaker when he's ready for them to send bills over. So sometimes they can pass now, and they may not get signed until later in June if he just doesn't request them. But once they get in his hands, he has a 2-week time limit.
Gotcha.
Chad, is there a length of time that they have to send them to the governor? Just
I don't believe so. I don't believe. There might be, and it might be related to when the bills would be go into effect, because usually we look at June 30th as like the last date that he would have to sign everything. But I'm not entirely sure what. I don't think there are any kind of requirements on when they send it over. They have to. They can't hold on to it and somehow decide to kill a bill that way. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure on how that works.
Thanks. We've had a couple education ones land on like June 27th. So I was just curious if there was any hard and fast rule.
Nope.
Sneak things in there while everyone's at the beach. That is old strategy. Love it. All right. Well, again, thanks for the clarification there, Chad. I know there is some gamesmanship and just, some logistics to take care of when it comes to signing bills. Governor DeSantis did last week sign Senate Bill 7014 into law. Again, this was to extend COVID liability protections for healthcare providers through June 1st of next year, 2023. Again, want to give a special thanks to our delegates, Senator Danny Burgess and Representative Colleen Burton, for their work on this effort. that was a great effort and one of the earlier bills signed. As a reminder, Senate Bill 280, as you see here, this would require local governments to adopt a business impact statement before passing an ordinance, while Senate Bill 620 would allow businesses to recover damages from local governments if an ordinance or provision creates a significant loss in revenue. And Chad, maybe you have some insight there, and if not, no big deal. But on Senate Bill 280, did see some movement on Senate Bill 620 for today. Senate Bill 280, is that, wasn't able to find much on that, if that was gonna cross the finish line or not.
Okay, so 280, it passed the Senate. It's over in the House right now in messages. It's just a matter of when they decide they want to take it up.
Okay.
So, and their bill, their companion bill 403 is also on their second reading calendar. So it's just a matter of when they decide to put it on the special order calendar over in the House. Now we are getting very close to the deadline. I'm not sure if it might be tomorrow where the House can no longer do special order calendars. They can only do what we call like when bills pass the Senate and bounce back over, then they can take those up. So we're getting close to that point where bills that have not been considered for the first time on the House floor would no longer be able to be considered. I'm not sure if that might be tomorrow, but I'm not entirely sure. I think tomorrow's day 58. I want to say it's tomorrow would be the last day for them to do that.
Okay. Yeah, and I was, again, just sheer fact we're about running out of time. If we're not seeing significant movement on some of these, I guess the thought is they're just not going to happen. But
and those special order calendars are done daily. So today they would work on the one for tomorrow. So it could happen still. It's
okay.
It's not too late yet, but yeah, I think after tomorrow it might be too late.
Okay. Well, good deal. We'll continue to monitor that one. And again, on 620, this would allow businesses to recover damages from local governments if an ordinance or local governmental provision creates a significant loss in revenue. And that is, I think, messing up the term, enrolled. No, special order calendar. Getting the one special order calendar for today in the House. So, okay. I'm looking off screen here to Anna because she is the brains behind this organization. Movement last week, again, Florida Tourism and Marketing, full House passed Senate Bill 434 by a vote of 98-17, but an amendment was added on the House floor to extend visit through 2028 instead of through 2031 as stated in the Senate bill. Because this amendment was added, Senate Bill 434 will need to go back to the full Senate to either accept or deny the amendment. It is expected that Senate will accept the amendment and that the amended bill will be headed to the governor's desk. So it'd be great news. Again, get this one passed through. Chad, that's what you're tracking as well? Okay, very good. Rural economic development. This bill, sponsored by one of our local delegates, encourages development and job growth in opportunity zones in rural communities by improving access to the Rural Infrastructure Fund, the Regional Rural Development Grant Program, and the Rural Community Development Revolving Loan Fund. Neither chamber took action on this bill last week, but House Bill 685 is ready for the House floor consideration. Yeah, and I have seen some movement, obviously, probably seen this in the news this week. Senate unanimously passed Senate Bill 1048 by a vote of 38-0, and is now in House messages to be considered with its House companion bill, House Bill 1193. The two bills are very similar. However, the House bill also includes language to create a transparent process for raising the school grading scale and policies tied to turnaround schools. And again, this is getting away from that end all be all end of year testing to throughout the year progress monitoring system. And that seems to have some momentum. And Chad, we see any stumbling blocks for this one, or is it pretty much on a glide path?
I think it's going to go right now. When it comes to these education bills, what you're probably going to see is there will be one education bill that all these things get added to. We call that a train. And I think that yesterday the House had an education bill they were considering. So if the House companion doesn't move, it's very likely that the Senate language might be amended into a larger omnibus education package that'll come back over. But yeah, I think so. There are lots of concerns that were raised. There's been a lot of working on it, a lot of modifications being made along the way. But I think you see the Senate passed unanimously. That's a really good sign that people are happy with where we're landing there. And we'll give it a try. Education will always come back and try to change it next year too. But it looks pretty good to me. And the governor, of course, really wants this. So yeah, I think we're safe there.
Very good. Ms. Wyatt, not to put you on the spot, but any commentary from the school board's perspective?
No, I think Chad pretty much covered it. The Senate and House bills obviously still don't align perfectly, but we're expecting for one of them to be adopted by the other house as a train bill. So we're just waiting to see what things come out of it. Is the $1 million question right now. So I do know our superintendent's been in contact with Representative Placencia specifically, but also with Senator Diaz to make sure that some of our concerns have been addressed. So I believe both of those, our concerns have been addressed in both bills for the most part.
Good deal. And then you just have the fun of implementing all this stuff.
Correct. It's waiting. And a lot of it too is giving the authority to DOE to implement, for the very reason of, as Chad said, we go back and fix it every year during session, but until we can get to the next session, how does DOE implement it? So they do give them a lot of flexibility in the implementation to make sure that we're able to fix some of those issues between now and next March as we're implementing it in year one.
Very good. All right. And then we have some more movement from last week, or just kind of in this section. Maybe there wasn't any movement last week, but amendments of the state constitution by citizen initiative. This bill would limit the subject of citizens initiatives to procedural issues to deter out-of-state lobbyists and special interest groups from influencing Florida politics. Senate Bill 1412 was on the Senate Rules Committee agenda for March 1st, but has been temporarily postponed. That's all the notes I have on this one. Chad is, sorry, I keep throwing you on the spot there, but do we know why it's temporarily postponed, or just not a top priority?
What we're seeing right now with if it was TP'd in the Rules Committee, let me take a look at that real quick. Yeah, then it's I think it's dead.
Okay.
Yeah, when you normally in committees you would temporarily postpone something if you just don't have the votes, and
Gotcha.
and that's looks like what it happened. It passed the House back in February 1st, and they still haven't considered it on the floor. So if the House one had been passed off the House floor and came over, I could see somehow we would resurrect it. But since they haven't even considered it yet, and we're almost done, then I think it's safe to say it's done. But yeah, temporarily postponed in a committee is not a good sign. That usually means you don't have the votes.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that insight. And then consumer data privacy would regulate companies that collect or sell consumer data and provides consumers the right to request that data be deleted, not sold or corrected. The House bill contains a private right of action as an enforcement mechanism. Again, a big priority for Speaker Sprowls and Governor DeSantis as it regulates, well, this spoke to all that, but there are three big concerns about this bill: the scope of the bill, the cost of compliance, and the use of private right of action as an enforcement mechanism. Well, last week, House Bill 9 passed the full House by a vote of 103 to 8. It was referred to the Senate Judiciary Committee. It is not expected that the Senate Judiciary Committee will meet again. However, that can change in the final days of session as negotiations take place to get the governor, speaker, and Senate president's priorities across the finish line. So, all right, moving on. Additional week 8 movement. House Bill 777 requires referenda elections to be held on a general election days for taxes related to tourism, children's services, fuel taxes, and certain school district millage elections. House Bill 777 passed the full House by a vote of 111-2 on February 24th, and passed the full Senate 39-0 last Wednesday. Senate Bill 962 authorizes counties and municipalities respectively to approve any residential development project on land zoned for commercial or industrial use if 10% of the project's units are reserved for affordable housing, with the caveat that developer cannot apply or receive funding from the state's multifamily affordable housing program SAIL. Senate Bill 962 passed the Senate 39-0 on February 10th and passed the full House 112-0 on Friday. Both bills have now been sent to the governor's desk for approval. Last week, we also saw the House pass its tax package off the floor, which is starting point for negotiations with the Senate. The House package includes several sales tax holidays, a sales tax exemption for machinery used for hydrogen production, and a documentary sales tax exemption for small business emergency loans. It also includes the annual piggyback to adopt the latest Internal Revenue Code, which will result in an increase in corporate income taxes. And obviously redistricting and reapportionment, one of the two things that could get us kicked into overtime here. But finally, the Florida Supreme Court did validate the state House and state Senate redistricting maps last Thursday. As a reminder, the House map puts Winter Haven District 48 with Southeast Winter Haven, and the Senate map puts us in District 12 with North Polk County. On Friday, the House and Senate passed new primary and secondary congressional maps, which we discussed last week. The plan now heads to Governor DeSantis for his signature veto. However, he has signaled that he plans to veto the congressional map. Chad, I know, yeah, the congressional map is obviously getting a lot of the publicity right now. And yeah, obviously the governor's intentions have been made quite known. I mean, I'll just throw it to you. What are we expecting out of all of this?
Yeah, so that's the elephant in the room. That's the issue that is really bogging us down right now. The governor announced last week when it was the Senate or the congressional map was being considered on the House floor that it would be dead on arrival. He is going to do it. And yet they went ahead and passed it anyways. And we passed it in the Senate same day. It came over here and we passed it. So now, that's kind of where the line's been drawn. He has not vetoed it yet. But when he does, the big question is, what can we do? Can the legislature override the veto like we can a bill? And I'm not sure that we would have the 2/3 vote required to do that. Would that require the legislature then to redraw maps, or would it go straight to the court? And what we are basing everything off of is the last time we had the redistricting drama with the courts, where the court gave the legislature a deadline. The legislature met the deadline, but the court still wasn't satisfied. So they decided to just adopt a map themselves. A bunch of maps were submitted and they picked the one that they thought was constitutional. So right now, based on that model, the belief is we may not have a special session to redraw the maps. It may go straight to the court, and the court would consider our maps, whether they are constitutional. I think the governor might be able to submit a map. I think anybody might be able to submit a map at that time. But what I'm hearing is we have two maps that have been worked on in the legislature, and the one that's been vetoed the court may not consider that, but they may just adopt our second map and just say, yep, that's constitutional. That's what we got. So we're still not quite clear on how that's going to work. I have heard a lot of discussion about a special session in May for us to redraw maps. We have a different court now, and I believe the Chief Justice Kennedy was in the dissent on the last time around, and I think he took issue with the idea that the court could draw or adopt a map without having the legislature draw on it. So I could very well see this court telling us that it's our job to draw the maps, their job to rule whether it's constitutional or not. So we may be back here in May. We may be doing this all over again. Of course, time is of the essence because everybody knows who's running for what and who's going to get in the race, and the campaigns need to be, really they need to be moving now. So yeah, all that's in play, and that's affecting everything. There were some who voted against the maps in the House and in the Senate, and those who voted against it, are now facing struggles within their own ranks, with their leadership and everything, for not standing together. So there's a lot of drama going on here, a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I can't really talk about that are going to impact this fall. All the way down, things that we'll start hearing stuff locally pretty soon. I think it's going to get a little wild. But we, at this point, it's unresolved. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, that's incredibly interesting. I mean, we, just for the purposes of this call, obviously we picked up a seat in Florida. So, I mean, they have to find a new district out there, essentially. So, I mean, we can't default back to the previous map or some version thereof, because we'd be a district short. So, I mean, if this whole process just gets bogged down, I mean, I guess my question to you is, like, really, I mean, the Supreme Court is looking to the legislature to at least give them something to offer up in the form of, is it 27 or 28 districts now?
28. I think 28.
Yeah. So, I mean, could it get to a point? I'm simply asking, could it get to a point where it just gets ping pong back and forth and we just run out the clock on this? And then what happens at that point? I mean, like you said, someone's got to start campaigning here pretty quickly, and November's right around the corner.
I think we will have a resolution by May of some sort. I think the court will take this very seriously. They'll weigh in. I don't think it bodes well for the governor that they did not want to give an opinion, an advisory opinion, when he asked for it, based on that district up in what was that, Congressman Lawson's district. The governor was hoping they'd advise in his favor that we don't need that minority majority district. And if that was the case, then he'd have all the support he needed to say, no, we need to redraw the maps, but the court wouldn't do it. The court said they didn't have enough information, and that would require a lot more data on their part before they could decide whether or not that was constitutional. So yeah, I think that things are going to move very fast. I think in the meantime, there's a lot of pressure going on, and I think it's even tied to what we're seeing right now with some of the budget delays. There's a lot of strategy, trying to figure out what can be done to try to influence the outcome here. The governor has not vetoed the map yet. I think when he does, that'll be it. That's when everything's really gonna start heating up. But it's a great unknown, and for all of us that are watching this very closely, this is a very, very strange time to be in politics, for sure.
Yeah, well, it's endlessly fascinating. I could probably ask you a million more questions, but for purposes of this call and everyone's time, I will not resist that urge. But thank you for that insight.
Sure.
And again, I'm sorry to keep throwing it back at you, but again, we got one last thing to do here, essentially, and that's pass a budget. You see kind of the timeline where we are, and again, trying to get at least the final version of it through today, so we have that 72-hour cooling off period, which comes in, for us to run out the clock on Friday. And Chad, we're pretty much to the end. I'm sure your comments would include a lot about the budgeting process. I know I've picked your brain throughout, so hopefully I haven't exhausted you of everything you wanted to say today, but I'll kick it over to you. Anything you want to mention along the lines of the budget or anything else that just tickles your fancy?
Sure. Well, first, I apologize for not being here last week. It feels like everything we've been doing the last 7 months have now come together and brought us to the last 2 weeks. Everything all of a sudden is moving very, very fast. A lot of pieces, a lot of moving parts trying to put together. And last Tuesday, I just didn't have the ability to join the call. So where we are right now. Where we are right now, last week we started conferencing. You had the subcommittees having their conference meetings, and they decided up front when they began conferencing that they would kick everything up to the appropriations chairs on Thursday of last week. So the appropriation chairs have been in possession of the budget and doing their conferencing since Friday. And since that time, Oh, I think we had a meeting Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. We did not have a meeting yesterday. Usually you have multiple meetings a day. So we actually are now somewhat behind. Today is the day for us to get a budget if we are getting out on Friday. So we are all watching very closely to see if we can pull that off. They had a meeting first thing this morning at 9 a.m. and that was the first question that they were asked by the press, and the response they gave was, we are working very hard to make sure we get out on time. But that means they have to get everything done. The presiding officers, the president and the speaker, have to do their part, which usually involves just making a few adjustments, filling in the gaps. There's usually a little money left over that they get to then decide where it goes. And then they have to put the budget back together. That's where the staff puts all of the multiple silos, as we call them, together into one budget, one piece, and they have to cross-reference everything, make sure it all lines up. And that can take half a day to do. So they're working very, very hard right now. And to be honest, if I was a betting man, I would bet that we don't get it out on Friday. Saturday, probably. I have a feeling we can definitely get it done by tomorrow, which would then have us come back on Saturday to vote it out. But Friday, they could go till midnight tonight. Who knows? We'll see. We've had late nights every single night last week and starting now this week. You can see behind me right now, the Senate is debating on final passage of the parental rights bill, which has been in the media like crazy lately. It's been dubbed by the opponents as the Don't Say Gay bill, which is a terrible misnomer and has clouded a lot of people's understanding of what the bill does. But that's going on. That'll probably go on for quite a while before they get that voted out. Then they get to the rest of their agenda for the day. So things have been very, very, very crazy. So that's the budget. We're still waiting on the education numbers to come out from the appropriations chairs. They haven't released those yet. We just got the criminal and civil justice numbers, which included the courthouse. I was speaking earlier about that. The courthouse has been accepted by both the House and the Senate. So we are getting the courthouse in Lakeland. Beyond that, I pulled up the Polk County priorities, and a lot of those are still in flux. So I'm not going to go over any of those yet. Is today our last call?
No, we're going to have one more next Tuesday. Okay. Just kind of a wrap up.
Perfect. Okay, good. Because then we'll know everything. And then of course we will start having our wrap ups back around the district. So hopefully we'll see everybody in person too when we do those. Beyond that, I think the most important thing everybody's wondering about is whether or not we have a new state dessert. And yes, the governor signed that today. Strawberry shortcake is the new state dessert. He was at the Strawberry Festival to sign that in Plant City. So we got that one done.
Absolutely. I was at the luncheon yesterday where our Attorney General gave a great speech and got to learn that she was actually a former strawberry queen. So great day for Central Florida and for the governor's office. So very cool. Well, Chad, thank you so much for that update. Anyone else on the call have any questions or any report outs? Oh, did have one more slide, sneak peeks, but pretty much everything at this point. Not a whole lot to sneak peek other than whether or not we get Mr. Davis back home on Saturday or Sunday. So again, yes, sir.
Thing. Last Friday and then yesterday, we got the farewell speeches for Senator Stargell. Hers was last Friday, and then Representative Burton's was yesterday. You can find those videos on the Florida Channel website. And if you didn't see those live, I highly recommend going back and watching those. They were very good. All of the different members got to get up and give speeches. And then both Senator Stargell and Representative Burton gave their own farewell speech, and they were quite moving.
No, it's a great point. And Chad, please give our just warmest thanks to Senator Stargell. I know it's kind of a bittersweet week for her, but just for her, awesome years of service to our community and everything she's done for county, the city, and the state of Florida. We are very appreciative. So thank you very much.
I'll pass it on.
Thank you. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. Again, we'll be back here next Tuesday for hopefully a completed session. And well, thank you so much for joining today, and we'll see you back. Have a good day, everyone.